Greetings. So I took a peek at Dr. Kelly Richardson's recent show titled Coming Up with Lent, and I noticed there was a brief portion therein where he discusses the proper pronunciation of shalom. You know, he thinks the proper pronunciation is shalawam, and he claims that there was no O vocalization in Hebrew prior to the 9th century. So I thought I'd make a quick video responding to that. So I'm going to play a brief clip from his show where he discusses that, and we're going to pick it up at slightly after the 24-minute mark. Here, listen to this.
That word shalom. None of our ancestors back in the biblical times said shalom. Why? Because the O sound did not exist in ancient Hebrew. That O sound was added. That O sound was added around the 15th, 16th century, and you'll see like the vowel movement. You know, the really push of these different vowels interpolating so many languages. Right in the 9th century, right, the original Masoretic points, right, the colon va, right, or the colon or colon va. Right, colon va, that's the vowel letter. Colon is the actual vowel sound. Vowel, right? And that letter, vowel actually made an ah sound, not an o sound. So many will try to mock and say, "Hey, what is shalawam?" Actually, shalawam is the ancient pronunciation. Shalom is not the ancient pronunciation. Why? Because there was no o sound prior to the 9th century in the Hebrew language. But anyway.
Okay, so the easy response to this claim has been available on the internet for well over a decade. And that is to note that we have ancient transliterations of Hebrew words and Hebrew names that definitely long predate the 9th century. For example, regarding the word shalom, that actually is part of the name Abshalom. You know, that's a name in the Bible, Abshalom. We have transliterations of that name, ancient transliterations, so we can see how ancient Hebrew speakers thought that word or that name is pronounced, and by extension, it would tell us how they thought the word shalom was pronounced. And so, too, we can also look at the word Abaddon, which gets, you can find it in the book of Job, that word. It means destruction, and you can find it transliterated in the book of Revelation. So let's take a look at some examples of this. First quick example, this is the 3rd Psalm as it appears in the Septuagint, but let me note that this is not just any copy of the Septuagint. Rather, this is from Codex Sinaiticus, or Sinaiticus, as some say, per the Greek pronunciation. And we found the name Abshalom transliterated here. It's transliterated as Abesalom. And what's most important is what would be the O sound in Hebrew is captured with an omega. It's transliterated with an omega. Now, if there was no O sound in Hebrew, why would this ancient transliteration render it with an omega? That's an important question that I'd like to pose to our good friend, Dr. Kelly. And here's a quick second example. This is from Revelation 9:11, 9th chapter of Revelation, 11th verse, where it mentions Apollyon and says that his name in Hebrew is Abaddon, and the O vocalization is captured again by a transliteration employing an omega. So once again, we have the same question for our good friend, the gentle doctor. If there was no O vocalization in Hebrew prior to the 9th century, why do we see ancient transliterations, which predate the 9th century by centuries, employing O vocalizations in their transliterations? That's an interesting question, isn't it? And of course, we could go to other names. The name of Jacob, for example, and there's other names available as well. But the point is that ancient Hebrew, at least certainly forms of Hebrew that existed well before the 9th century, had vocalizations that the Lashon Kodash system doesn't recognize. So I'm about to close this video here, but I want to close by saying that the system of pronunciation known as Lashawan Kodash is a modern innovation. And if Dr. Kelly Richardson is unimpressed with what's been presented here, I would invite him to offer a counterweight in the form of ancient transliterations. So, for example, what does he know of? What's the oldest source he knows of to imply that the word shalom is pronounced shalawam? What's the earliest source to take that root? Can he find anything prior to the 20th century? And certainly anything going as far back as, Codex Sinaiticus or earlier. I would love to see what he has, but I must confess, I don't think he's going to produce anything like that. And so if he doesn't, we have to say the ancient evidence is on our side and not on the side of the proponents of Lashawan Kodash. On that note, I hope everyone found this brief video interesting and fun. And as always, I look forward to the comments of others. God bless.
You ain't see that 125 years ago. We ain't hear people saying certain things, shalom. We ain't hear a lot of stuff, but we hearing it now. We're seeing certain things now. I just want to know if some of this stuff is built on a line. I ride with them that this La Kodesh language is make-believe, Pastor Kelly. Shalom, wasn't nobody saying that 200 years ago. Yeah, y'all are nothing but liars to me, and I'm going to check everything out. So now they talking about shalom. Of course I'm going to bring our boo on if they ain't scared him off. I'm going to bring him on, yo, is this language legit? Is this language make-believe? We're going to deal with all of this. Y'all can't come giving the people nothing, not on this platform. If I hear it, I'm going to go after it. That's what I'm going to do.